As a company is thinking about an initial public offering, a lot of focus is on the investment community, rightly so, you're raising capital. But another important stakeholder group that you really need to think about as you're getting ready to go public is your employee base. Oftentimes they're going to also become shareholders, and it's also going to change their lives pretty significantly, can alter the culture of the company, and will sometimes change some of their responsibilities as well as you transition from being a private to a public company. So you want to educate them from the outset, make them feel part of the process. You want to answer questions for them about how their roles might change within the company, what the timeline is for the initial public offering and how that impacts them. You also want to create excitement for them. This is going to change things, but it will be an exciting time for the company and for them. You want to help them understand how it might change relationships with your customers or with your vendors as well, because they're going to be the ones that are interacting with them. One of the ways in which you might want to think about engaging with your employees through the process, and you can do it at the start, and you also want to think about it after the IPO is over, is an employee roadshow, especially if you have locations all over the United States or globally. And it might not be the CEO who does all of those meetings, but you want to think about engaging the rest of the management team, leveraging them, and getting them out to help explain this process to employees. Another thing that you also want to consider is training. And there's a few different things in that regard. One, you want to think about what your disclosure policy as a publicly traded company is going to be and what employees need to know about that. And as a publicly traded company, you are highly regulated. The Securities and Exchange Commission is going to have certain materials that need to be filed with them. Certain employees are going to be part of that process. There's going to be some information that you do not want to disclose externally, given regulation fair disclosure and the fact that investors need to have a level playing field. That means employees that may have been used to talking about a sales figure on a monthly basis might not be able to talk about that anymore, and they need to be educated on the do's and don'ts for a publicly traded company. So one of the other things that you want to think about as you're educating and training your employees on disclosure policies, you need to think in these days about your social media policies and also how your employees are communicating with customers. And that may be via email, or it may be other methods through the internet, and you need to have those policies established ahead of time so that they understand how they can communicate with customers, how they can communicate externally in general about the company, and what you want your culture and your policies to be as it relates to social media.